with the Summer Olympics coming up within less than 100 days, Rio, yay, all the games. There's been an issue in Rio, though, with a surge in unarmed police killings. The story I saw today, and it mentioned that one of the victims was a young child. So there have been, like, the level of homicides thus far, according to a report from Amnesty International, is like 10% greater than the same period in 2015. And they've also noted that, like, the majority of the victims, similar to here in the United States, have been young black men from favelas or other marginalized areas. If you've ever seen, just to get kind of like a context, if you're not really sure what a favela is, I mean, if you've ever seen the movie City of God, that's not a favela, but there is a favela Josina right next to it. But that's a similar, like, area and demographic we're talking about. Same, when I was in Brazil in law school, one of the things I thought about was, like, man, we went on a favela tour. That poverty tours is a whole nother story, and I objected to it, but it was a part of the study abroad program, and I had to do it for a grade. But anyway, we went into 2 different favelas at different points in our trip. I remember driving through one at night, and I turned to my friend Shaquana, who's from Brooklyn, and I was like, dude, don't this look like the Bronx? Like the little bodega setup, just like people look like us, right? And we don't think about that when we travel and we go someplace else, but, like, the paper I wrote was a hood is a hood. And so we see this similar issue. We start talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and whether yelling and interrupting people actually does anything. This is a global movement. And as we see here in Rio, there is an issue, especially as they're trying to clear out areas to make it more presentable and acceptable for tourists coming in for the Olympic Games coming up this summer. There's also been an issue with criminalizing, free speech and free of assembly activity, right, as they're moving forward towards the Olympic Games. So that was rather interesting, and it also ties into, the points that the president raised as he's touring on his European tour about how shouting people down in these protest movements do not really accomplish, and we need to sit down and talk to people. Well, you have this case in Brazil. I don't really know what sitting down and talking to people about treating people decently and humanly is going to do in that case. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit.